Okay, so now we're going to use our video effect. And what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to split this layer. And I'll explain why. I'm just going to close it up for the moment. The reason why is I want the explosion effect to happen, but I want it to happen at the end when the girls are frozen. I don't want it to affect the beginning of the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the spot where just before I want them to explode. So I'm moving it forward, so about there, okay? And then I'm going to go to the Edit menu, and I'm going to go to Split Layer. So then that takes that layer, splits it into two. The bottom one here is the first half. We're going to leave that alone. The second half is where we're going to apply the effect, right there. Okay, so under the effects and presets here on the right, I'm going to look for one called Pixel Poly. I'm just going to type in P-O-L-L-Y, and I can see there, CC Pixel Poly. And I'm going to drag it, but just to make sure I drag it in the right spot, I'm going to drag it onto this first layer over here, rather than dragging it on the video itself, just to make sure it's on the right layer. So we're going to drag it there. Okay, now the girls have disappeared. That's fine, I was expecting that. Reason is the start time here is at 0 seconds. No, the start time should be approximately 1 second, 27 frames. Now the problem is 1 second, 27 frames is not a time, is a factor of frames. Here, start time is exactly in seconds. This is a little trick that I do. I'm going to look at that 127, and I'm going to type in here, just click here, and go 1.27. Now, that's not exact. You can see we're sort of in the middle of the effect here, but it's close enough. I'm going to click and drag this to the right until just before they explode, and that will be the beginning of the effect. Now, what I'm going to do as well is hold down the control button. That will raise it up a little bit incrementally, so it's not such a big change as I go through it. So holding down the control button and dragging to the right, I'm looking for that point just before they explode right there. Okay, so now when I go through it, now I can see them explode, the pieces fall to the ground like that. Okay, good. Now, there are all sorts of ways that you can change this particular effect. Let me just take it back a bit. Over here on the right, underneath the key light, and let's just close up the key light to be a little bit neat so we can see what we're doing. Some of the effects, some of the presets I like to change are force, gravity, spinning sometimes, definitely the grid spacing. I usually leave the object as textured polygon, that tends to be the best one, and force center. Okay, let's talk about force center to start with. Now, the effect is going to go from the center here. Now, that's not the center of the girls, that's the center of the video. If we're assuming that the laser beam hits them in the middle here, so they both explode, we would want the effect to sort of be more in the middle here. So I'm happy with the Y coordinate, I'm happy how far up it is. I'm not happy how far to the left and right it is. So that's a function of the x-axis, which is this 960 here. So I'm going to click and drag that to the left and move that force center into the middle. So now the effect will have that as its center point. And everyone's different. I'm going to choose the force at 400, the force of the explosion. The gravity, I've seen all sorts of things done by kids. Some kids even do a minus figure for the gravity, so instead of falling down, the pieces fall up. That's an interesting way of doing it. I'm just going to make it at 4. I'm going to make it the pieces spin 3 times, so I'll put in number 3. The grid spacing is how big those pieces are. They were pretty big. I actually like it really small. I'm going to choose 2. Okay, and so let's see how different that looks as I drag it through. Right, it's almost like they're falling to dust, and they go down like that. Okay, that looks good. All right, now, the effect goes pretty quickly. If I just, from this point, I'm going to press space to see how quick that effect is. All right, it's very, very quick. So what I want to do is I want to slow that down. I want to slow down the frame, what we call a time stretch. So making sure that that first layer is selected, we're going to go up to the layer menu, choose time, and go to time stretch. And right now the stretch factor is at 100%, which means it is normal time. If I change that to 200, it will be slowed down by a factor of 2. In other words, it'll be half the speed. You can see here the original duration, as in the original length of this little bit of layer here was 1 second and 19 frames. If I stretch it by 200, it will now be 3 seconds and 8 frames. Let's press OK. All right, you can see here it's stretched now. Okay, I might even press O and N just to go to the end of the layer and N to retrim that. Let's see how that looks now. Okay, it's loading the frames, so it is a bit more jagged than we would expect. And I've got a lot of space here where nothing's happening, actually. Probably because the force is so big that it happens very quickly. Let's try it again. Yeah, maybe let's try making the force maybe 50, so smaller than the 100. Let's see how that looks. Don't like that at all. Okay, let's go the other direction. Let's make it 800. Let's see how that looks. Oh, I like that. That just sprays everywhere. I really like that. Okay, well, those are the settings that I've chosen anyway, so that looks good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the sound effect. I'm going to make sure that the sound is on for both green screen videos. I'm going to go back to my project tab right here, and I've got this laser effect that I'm going to drag right to the bottom here, and I'm going to position it just over here at the same position where this layer starts over here. The laser sound effect should happen as it explodes. So let's have a look. Just turn that up so you can hear. Let's see how that works. Nice. Okay, I think we will finish the project there. I don't think there's any point in having the rest of it, although there is the sound. Let's see. There's a bit of noise in the background there. Maybe just there we'll finish it. And press N. All right, so we've added the sound effect. Next step is the laser beam, and we will do that next.